So I'm making records and working on projects all day, every day, and I'm always asking musicians what they're struggling with. And one of the things that shocks me constantly is that they say they don't know what content to make outside of their lyric and music videos. In marketing meetings with younger artists, it's almost a given that the artist isn't going to be confident and have no clue what content to make. But to me, this is often just a confidence-building exercise they need to do to get to know themselves better. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a quick exercise you can do to figure out what content you should be making outside of your music, whether it's what to post on social media, or a podcast, or a YouTube personality. Hi, I'm Jesse Cannon, a music marketer on YouTube, teaching musicians how to go from 0 to 10,000 fans, and this is Musformation. So before we get started, I want to preface that you should probably watch my video on how to do a SWOT analysis so that you understand your music better, and I would be doing that before we do what we're about to do. So if you haven't watched that video yet, click the link in the description or what's up on the card right now. But if you have done that, you now probably understand yourself a little bit better. So if you're watching this video, you probably know you should be making some content outside of your music to connect with an audience. Since after all, you've probably seen other groups doing this. If you watch this channel or have watched my video on the musicians who do YouTube right, or any of my other videos, you've heard me going on and on about this MTV study that shows fans support the musicians they feel the closest bonds with. And if you aren't building those bonds with fans, they're just going to build them with other musicians who take the time to build those bonds with their fans. The fact is, your potential fans want to feel a bond to you from more than just your music. And while the music can be enough, most people need to do themselves the favor of showing their personality to keep reminding fans to build deeper bonds with them. But so many of you seem to not have a clue of what that is that they can build bonds with. Now, when I say that, I say it with the awareness that a lot of you still have no clue what it is, but you're still unconfident about what you should do. Well, a lot of the time, confidence comes from realizing that your intuitions are worth exploring. So let's go deeper. What you're going to do is answer 3 questions and write down the answers to reflect on the content you should be making. The first question I want you to ask yourself is, what are your strengths that may work well on social media? If you're funny and can turn a phrase well, Twitter is probably going to be good for you. Whereas if you're physically funny, TikTok and Instagram are better. If you're interesting, Tumblr and Twitter can do you a lot of favors, or you should try writing for outlets or blogs, or doing a tiny letter to your fans. Oh yeah, Tiny Letter is a free and easy email newsletter system from MailChimp where you can talk directly to your fans. Thinking of your strengths and how you can turn them into assets is a great thing to reflect on. But let's also remember your weaknesses can be a great source of connection. More and more artists are talking about what they struggle with to bond with their audience through Instagram stories and YouTube videos, and talking about what they're vulnerable about and what they're going through to get through it. The second question to ask yourself is, what does your audience want from you? If you're a sick musician or producer, showing more of that is the easiest win in social media. In fact, just this week I saw Jim Adkins from Jimmy Eat World is going to be talking songwriting on YouTube. And as someone who has thought he's one of the smartest songwriters for 20 years, you could basically build an IV of every episode straight into my veins, because I will take it. But for you, whose audience is small, you need to take hints from the small fan interactions you have when fans tell you you're good at something. You need to take note and think of how you can reverse engineer that into something that can help build bonds with fans. The third question to ask yourself is, what makes you unique or is special or a superpower you have? If you have special knowledge, skills, or abilities that go further than most people, these can be great to develop for content. When I think of this, I think of Oliver Tree. He thinks it's funny to portray himself as a monster, and this is part of what he does in his videos.
What the fuck are you doing? I'm not even on fire! Get the fuck out of here!
Most people would be scared of showing that. But as he finds it okay and is comfortable with it, it gives him a unique charm that has obviously caught on in a big way. Find what you have that most people don't, and figure out how to make that into something that works on social media. But what about what I was saying at the start of this video about how this is mostly confidence? My mentor, the mastering engineer Alan Douches, one of the most credited engineers in the history of music and an incredibly wise man, has a saying that says, "What are you pretending not to know?" And what that means is you probably already know what you should be doing, you're just not confident enough to do it yet. Get started working and experimenting, and if you get to work, you'll figure out what you need to do if you stay committed to that. This is all about finding what works for you. Just remember, it takes time to good at showing the sides of you to strangers, but thinking about how to do it right, planning and doing some experimenting can get you to a great place. There's no way in hell it's going to be perfect or amazing the first time. In fact, you're going to have to do it a bunch of times. Remember, when you do this stuff and it doesn't work, it's important to not throw the thing you're nurturing in the trash. Nearly none of your favorite artists were good at everything they tried at first. It takes practice. I mean, just watch any of my early videos and watch how bad they were. I mean, hell, watch my videos from 6 weeks ago and watch how bad my lighting was. And in a few more weeks, when I get a better teleprompter, I'll be cringing at this video. You need to keep poking around and finding what works and getting better, and eventually you will find your way. Accept that failure is part of everyone's path, and the only way to get there is to not be hard on yourself and keep finding what works. Thanks for watching. Am I missing anything? Is there any other way you would have done this? I need to know your questions and what no one else is telling you, since I want to answer them, so leave them in the comments, since I answer every comment in every post. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and get notified. And I'm going to be breaking down the concepts in this video along with how to promote your music and how to make songs you're happy with in the future. I have a Facebook group linked below that is only helpful information. No playlist or con artists, only artists having helpful discussions allowed. If you want to learn more about me, work on a record with me, or check out any of my books, podcasts, or anything else I do, go to jessecannon.com or at jessecannon on all the socials. One last thing, there's 2 playlists here. One is on how to grow your fan base from 0 to 10,000 fans, and the other is specially chosen to match this video. Or you can hit the subscribe button below and stay tuned as I have tons of tips for musicians.